If you're interested in stories of marital betrayal and cheating spouses, you've come to the right place. Show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel. They say you can feel it in your bones when something's wrong. I never believed that until the night I woke up at 3 a.m. and realized my husband wasn't beside me. My name is Sarah, and I'm 34 years old. I live in Portland, Oregon, in a modest 2-story house that my husband Mark and I bought 7 years ago, back when we still believed in forever. Mark is 37, works in sales management, and for the longest time, he was the kind of man who made me feel safe, the kind who held my hand through the darkest moments of our lives. We've been together for nearly 10 years, married for 8. And in that time, we've survived things that break most couples. The miscarriage that left me hollow for months, my mother's sudden death 2 years ago, his father's battle with cancer that we watched from the front row. Grief became our shadow, following us from room to room, settling into the spaces between our words. Mark was my anchor through it all. When I couldn't get out of bed, he brought me coffee. When I cried at random moments, he held me without asking why. We grew older together, quieter maybe, but I thought we were growing stronger too. I was wrong. It started so small I almost missed it. 3 months ago, maybe 4. Mark began coming home later. Traffic, he'd say. Client dinner ran long. His phone, which used to sit carelessly on the kitchen counter, suddenly had a passcode. When I asked about it, he laughed. Security, babe. You know how it is with work emails. I believed him because I wanted to. Because suspicion felt like another weight I couldn't carry. Then came the nights he'd shower immediately after walking through the door. The way he'd turn his phone face down during dinner. The distant look in his eyes when I tried to talk about my day, like he was somewhere else entirely, with someone else entirely. Last week I found a receipt in his jacket pocket. Dinner for 2 at a restaurant downtown, a place we'd never been together. The date was our anniversary, the night he told me he had to work late. That's when the ground started shifting beneath my feet. That's when I realized the man I'd trusted with my grief, my body, my future, might be the one about to destroy it all. Something was terribly wrong, and deep down I already knew what it was. I became someone I never wanted to be, a woman who checks her husband's phone while he sleeps. It happened on a Tuesday night. Mark had come home around 10, claimed he'd grabbed dinner with his team after a big presentation. He kissed my forehead, distracted, mechanical, and headed straight for the shower. When he finally came to bed, he was asleep within minutes, or at least pretending to be. His phone sat on the nightstand, glowing softly each time a notification came through. 1 buzz, 2, 3, at 11:47 p.m. Who texts someone's husband at midnight? My heart pounded as I reached for it, my hands trembling so badly I nearly dropped it. The screen lit up with a preview. Missing you already. Tonight was perfect. The sender's name was just a letter. J. I tried his passcode. Our anniversary. Wrong. His birthday. Wrong. My hands were shaking harder now, panic rising in my throat. Then, almost without thinking, I tried the date of his father's funeral. It unlocked. The air left my lungs. I slipped out of bed and locked myself in the bathroom, sitting on the cold tile floor with his phone clutched in my hands like evidence at a crime scene, because that's what it was. Evidence of a crime against everything we'd built together. The messages with Jay went back 6 months, 6 entire months of good morning beautiful, and can't wait to see you tonight. And she doesn't understand me the way you do. She, me. I scrolled through photos I was never meant to see. Her hand on his chest, his arm around her waist at some bar I didn't recognize. A selfie of them in his car. My car, the one I helped him pick out. Her lips pressed against his cheek while he grinned like a teenager. There were voice messages too. I couldn't bring myself to play them. Not yet. But the worst part, the part that made me bite down on my fist to keep from screaming, was a message from 3 weeks ago. Mark, I promise. When the timing is right, I'll tell her. You're not just some affair. You're the one I should have waited for. The timing. As if there's a good time to destroy your wife. I sat on that bathroom floor until dawn, reading every word, studying every photo, watching my marriage dissolve into pixels and lies. When Mark knocked on the door asking if I was okay, I said I had food poisoning. He believed me. Of course he did. He'd been lying so easily. Why couldn't I? For 3 days, I said nothing. I went through the motions like an actress in a play I never auditioned for. I made coffee. I smiled when Mark kissed me goodbye. I asked about his day when he came home, and the entire time, I felt like I was watching myself from outside my body, wondering who this woman was and how much longer she could keep pretending. The truth sat in my chest like a stone, getting heavier with every breath. I needed proof, more than just messages I'd seen on a stolen glance at his phone. I needed something undeniable, something he couldn't twist into excuses or gaslight me into doubting. Because I knew Mark. I knew how good he was with words, how he could make black sound like white if it served him. So I did something I never imagined I'd do. I called a friend who works in tech and asked him how to recover deleted messages from a phone backup. He didn't ask questions. Maybe he heard something in my voice that told him not to. That Friday, Mark came home from the gym, though I'd noticed he never came home sweaty anymore, and went straight to the shower. While the water ran, I grabbed his phone from the nightstand and connected it to my laptop. My hands shook so badly I had to try 3 times before the cable clicked into place. The software ran for 20 minutes. 20 minutes of staring at a loading bar while my entire world waited to either confirm or deny what I already knew in my bones. When it finished, I had everything. Months of deleted conversations, photos he'd carefully erased, even location data that painted a map of lies across our city. There she was, Jessica, 29 years old, works at a marketing firm downtown. Pretty in that effortless way that made my stomach turn. They'd met at a networking event 6 months ago. 6 months of coffee dates that became lunch dates that became hotel rooms on Thursday afternoons. Thursdays. The day I had therapy to deal with my grief. The day Mark encouraged me to go. Said it was good for me to work through my issues. He'd been using my healing as cover for his betrayal. I found videos too. Nothing explicit, but intimate enough. Her laughing at something he said. Him looking at her the way he used to look at me, back when I still recognized the man I'd married. The worst discovery came at 2 a.m. A voice memo Jessica had sent him 2 months ago. I know this is complicated, but I'm falling in love with you. I can wait. Just promise me I'm not crazy for believing in us. His response, you're not crazy. You're everything. Everything. I ran to the bathroom and vomited until there was nothing left. I finally confronted him on a Sunday morning. There was no dramatic plan, no perfectly rehearsed speech. I just woke up that day and couldn't carry the weight of his lies for 1 more second. We were in the kitchen. He was making scrambled eggs, humming some song I didn't recognize, acting like everything was perfectly normal. Who's Jessica? I asked. The spatula froze midair. For just a fraction of a second, his entire body went rigid. Then he turned to me with confusion painted across his face. Practiced. Almost convincing. Jessica. What are you talking about? Jessica from the marketing firm. The one you've been seeing for 6 months. The one you take to hotels on Thursday afternoons while I'm in therapy. I watched the color drain from his face. Watched him mentally scramble for an exit that didn't exist. Sarah, you went through my phone? That's what you're concerned about? My privacy violation? My voice was eerily calm. I surprised myself. Answer the question, Mark. Who is she? He set down the spatula, ran his hand through his hair, that gesture he always did when he was stressed. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is. We're friends. Just friends. We talk sometimes, that's all. I pulled out my phone and started reading. You're everything. Can't wait to hold you tonight. She doesn't understand me the way you do. Should I go on? Or do you want to keep insulting my intelligence? Mark's jaw tightened. He looked caught between anger and panic, and I could see him making a calculation. How much to admit? How much to deny? Okay, fine. We've gotten close. Maybe too close. But it's not what you're making it sound like. You've been sleeping with her. No. He said it too quickly. No, Sarah, I swear. It hasn't been physical like that. Like what, Mark? What does that mean? We haven't had sex. Not actual sex. I stared at him. This man I'd built a life with, and felt something inside me crack beyond repair. Not actual sex. What the hell does that even mean? It means exactly what I said. We've been close, emotionally close, and yeah, maybe we've crossed some lines, but it's not real cheating. Not like you're thinking. Not real cheating, I repeated slowly, tasting the words like poison. You've been having an affair for 6 months, making plans with another woman, telling her you love her, and you're standing here telling me it's not real cheating? Sarah, you've been so distant. Don't. My voice cut through the kitchen like glass. Don't you dare blame this on me. Mark tried to touch my arm, but I jerked away like his hand was fire. Don't touch me. Sarah, please, just let me explain. Explain what? How you've been emotionally invested in another woman while I've been drowning in grief? How you scheduled your affair around my therapy appointments? Please, Mark, enlighten me. He exhaled sharply, and I saw something shift in his expression. The panic was fading, replaced by something colder, defensive. You want the truth? Fine. Yes, I got close to Jessica. Yes, maybe it went further than it should have, but you need to understand something. You checked out of this marriage a long time ago. My mouth fell open. I checked out? After the miscarriage, after your mom died, you became someone I didn't recognize. You were so wrapped up in your pain that there was no room for me, no room for us. I tried, Sarah. God knows I tried. But living with you became like living with a ghost. Each word was a knife, carefully placed. And the worst part? There was a grain of truth in there, twisted and weaponized, but present enough to make me question myself. So your solution was to find someone else? To build a whole secret relationship while pretending to support me? I needed someone who saw me, someone who made me feel alive again. Jessica listened. She cared about my day, my feelings. When was the last time you asked me how I was doing? You used my grief as an excuse to cheat on me. It's not cheating! His voice rose, frustration spilling over. We didn't have sex, Sarah. We didn't cross that line. What we have is emotional, it's connection, it's betrayal. I was shaking now, rage and hurt warring inside my chest. You think because you didn't physically sleep with her it doesn't count. You gave her everything. Your time, your heart, your future. You made plans with her while I was home alone thinking we were working through our problems together. We kissed. A few times. And yeah, there was other stuff. But we never actually... Other stuff? My voice dropped to a whisper, which somehow felt more dangerous than screaming. What other stuff, Mark? He looked away, jaw clenched. It doesn't matter. It matters to me. What other stuff? The silence stretched between us like a chasm. Finally he spoke, barely audible. We did things, intimate things, but not intercourse. So technically, I laughed, a harsh, broken sound. You're really standing here giving me a technicality? Like we're in a courtroom and you're negotiating the definition of adultery? I'm trying to be honest with you. 6 months too late, Mark. You're honest now because you got caught, not because you suddenly grew a conscience. He ran both hands through his hair, pacing now. What do you want me to say? That I'm sorry? Fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I found comfort somewhere else while you were falling apart. I'm sorry I'm human, and I have needs too. Needs. I repeated the word like it was foreign. You sacrificed our marriage for your needs. Our marriage was already dying, Sarah. I just refused to pretend anymore. That's when I realized he wasn't sorry about the affair. He was sorry he got caught. And somewhere along the way, he convinced himself that I was the villain in this story. I stood there in our kitchen, surrounded by the smell of burnt eggs he'd forgotten on the stove, and felt the full weight of his selfishness crash over me. Our marriage was dying because you killed it, I said quietly. You chose to invest in someone else instead of fighting for us. You chose to schedule betrayal around my healing, and now you're standing here rewriting history to make yourself the victim. I'm not. He stopped himself, recalibrating. Look, I know I hurt you, but you hurt me too. You just don't see it. How, Mark? How did I hurt you? By shutting me out. By making your grief the only thing that mattered in this house. I lost the baby too, Sarah. Your mom was important to me too, but I couldn't grieve because I had to hold you together. And when I tried to talk to you about how I was feeling, you made it about yourself. His words hit like accusations. And for a moment, just a moment, I wondered if he was right. Had I been so consumed by my pain that I'd ignored his? Had I pushed him away without realizing it? Then I remembered the hotel receipts, the love messages, the promises to another woman. If you were struggling, you should have told me. We could have gone to couples therapy. We could have worked on it together. Instead, you found someone new and blamed me for forcing you into her arms. Would you have listened? He challenged, stepping closer. Really? Because every time I tried to have a conversation, you either shut down or started crying. What was I supposed to do? Not cheat. That's what you were supposed to do. I told you. It's not cheating if we didn't have sex. There it was again. His lifeline. His technicality. As if intimacy could be measured by what body parts touched and in what configuration. Did you touch her? I asked, my voice steady despite the trembling in my hands. He hesitated. Sarah, did you put your hands on her body? Did she put hers on yours? It's more complicated than... Yes or no, Mark? Yes. Did you kiss her? Yes. Did you tell her you loved her? A longer pause. I told her I cared about her. That's not what I asked. His silence was the answer. You told another woman you loved her while wearing the ring I put on your finger. My voice cracked, but I kept going. You built an entire emotional affair, complete with physical intimacy, future plans, and declarations of love. But because your penis didn't enter her vagina, you think that gives you some moral high ground? Don't be crude. Crude? You want to talk about crude? You used my trauma as a schedule for your affair. You manipulated my worst moments to create time for your best ones with her. That's not just crude, Mark. That's sociopathic. I'm not a sociopath. I'm just a man who was lonely. You were married to someone who was grieving. There's a difference between lonely and selfish. You chose selfish. He stared at me, and I watched something shift behind his eyes. The explanation stopped. The defenses dropped. What replaced them was colder. Maybe I did. Maybe I chose to be happy for once instead of drowning in your endless sadness. And honestly, I don't regret it. Jessica made me remember what it feels like to be wanted. There it was. The truth beneath all the justifications. He didn't regret betraying me. He only regretted that I'd found out. His words hung in the air like poison gas, and I felt something inside me finally break free. Not my heart, but my illusions. The man standing in front of me wasn't the person I'd married. Or maybe he was, and I'd just never seen him clearly until now. Get out, I said. What? Get out of this house. Now. Mark's expression shifted from defiance to disbelief. Sarah, come on. Let's not be dramatic. We can work through this. Work through this? I laughed, a sound that felt foreign in my own throat. You just told me you don't regret cheating on me. What exactly is there to work through? I didn't mean it like that. I'm overwhelmed. We're both saying things we don't mean. No, Mark. You're saying exactly what you mean. For the first time in months, you're being honest. And I'm finally listening. He took a step toward me, his voice softening into that tone he used when he wanted something. Babe, please, let's sit down and talk about this like adults. I know I messed up, but we can get past this. We've survived worse. We survived worse together. You survived this by fucking someone else. I didn't fuck her. You did everything but. Do you think that matters? Do you think I care about the technical definition when you gave her your heart, your time, your promises? When you looked at her the way you used to look at me? His jaw tightened. You're twisting everything. No, I'm finally seeing everything clearly. I grabbed his car keys from the counter and threw them at his chest. I want you out. Go stay with a friend. Go stay with her for all I care. But you're not sleeping in this house tonight. This is my house too, Sarah. You can't just kick me out. Watch me. You're being unreasonable. I'm being unreasonable? My voice rose despite my best efforts to stay calm. You carried on an affair for 6 months, and I'm unreasonable for not wanting you in my space right now. Where am I supposed to go? Call Jessica. I'm sure she'll be thrilled to finally have you all to herself. Something flickered across his face. Panic, maybe. Or calculation. It's over with her. I told you it wasn't serious. You told her she was everything. I was confused. I made mistakes. But you're my wife. Doesn't that count for something? It did. Until you decided it didn't count enough to stay faithful. Mark stood there, keys in hand, looking like he was trying to solve a puzzle he couldn't quite figure out. Part of me, a small stupid part, wanted him to fight harder, to drop to his knees and beg, to show me that our marriage meant something worth saving. Instead, he grabbed his jacket from the back of the chair. Fine, I'll go. But you need to think about your role in this too, Sarah. Marriages don't fall apart because of one person. You're right, I said quietly. They fall apart because one person stops fighting for them and starts fighting for someone else. He opened his mouth like he wanted to say more, then closed it. Without another word, he walked out the front door. I stood in the kitchen listening to his car start, listening to him drive away, and then I did something I hadn't done in years. I felt relief. The relief lasted exactly 47 minutes. That's how long it took for the reality to sink in. The silence of the empty house, the absence of his footsteps upstairs, the realization that I'd just kicked out my husband of 8 years and had no idea what came next. I sat on the couch, still wearing my pajamas, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed. A text from Mark. Staying at Dave's. We need to talk when you've calmed down. When I've calmed down. As if my anger was the problem. As if I was being hysterical instead of appropriately furious about his betrayal. I didn't respond. Instead, I did something I'd been avoiding. I called the number I'd found in Mark's phone, the one saved under J. She answered on the third ring. Hello? Her voice was younger than I expected. Softer. It made me hate her more. Is this Jessica? A pause. Yes. Who's this? This is Sarah, Mark's wife. The silence that followed was so complete, I could hear her breathing change. Quick, shallow, panicked. I don't know what to say. How about the truth? My voice was surprisingly steady. How long have you been sleeping with my husband? We haven't. She stumbled over her words. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Jessica? Help me understand. Look, I know this is complicated, but Mark told me. What did he tell you? Another pause. I could almost hear her weighing her options, deciding how much loyalty she owed to a man who was lying to both of us. He said you two were basically separated, living separate lives, that the marriage was over and everything but paperwork. I closed my eyes. Of course he did. Did he tell you I was in therapy dealing with the loss of our baby and my mother? Did he mention that he was coming home to me every night, sleeping in our bed, making love to me while he was making promises to you? He said you weren't intimate anymore. We had sex 3 weeks ago, Jessica. The sound she made was somewhere between a gasp and a sob. He said it had been over a year. He said you were like roommates, and you believed him. He seemed so genuine, so unhappy. Her voice cracked. I thought I was helping him finally be happy again, by fucking someone else's husband. We never had sex. She said it desperately, like it mattered. We didn't, I swear. I wanted to wait until he left you, until it was right. There it was again. The technicality, the magical line they thought would absolve them. But you did other things. She was crying now. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know it was like this. What did you think it was like? He showed me texts between you two. How cold you were. How you barely spoke. He said you'd shut him out completely after your losses. That he'd tried everything to reach you and you'd given up on the marriage. My hands were shaking. He showed you our private conversations? He was explaining why he needed someone. Why he was so lonely. So you decided to be that someone. I fell in love with him. Her voice was barely a whisper. I know that sounds stupid now, but I did. And he said he loved me too. When did he say that? 2 months ago. After we got close. He said I was different from you. That I understood him. That when the timing was right, he'd tell you everything and we could finally be together. The timing. Always the timing. Jessica, I need you to understand something. Mark is never leaving me. He's playing both of us. No, he promised you when the timing was right. He's been promising me forever. We're both waiting for a man who's already chosen himself. She was silent, and I could feel the weight of realization settling over her too. He's at his friend Dave's house right now, I continued, my voice hollow. Did he call you? Tell you what happened? No. Jessica's voice was small. I haven't heard from him since yesterday morning. Of course he hadn't called her. When his lies started collapsing, Mark's first instinct was always self-preservation. Let me guess, I said. Yesterday morning he told you he loved you, couldn't wait to see you, all the usual lines. Yes, he said he'd call me tonight after work, that maybe we could meet up this weekend because you were visiting a friend out of town. I'm not visiting anyone. I'm sitting in my living room talking to my husband's mistress, trying to piece together how thoroughly he's lied to both of us. I'm not a mistress, she said weakly. We were waiting. We were doing things the right way. The right way? I couldn't help the bitter laugh. Jessica, there is no right way to date a married man. She was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice had changed. Less defensive, more broken. Were you two really still together? Like, actually together? We went to his company dinner 2 weeks ago. He introduced me as his wife, held my hand all night, told his boss we were planning a trip to Hawaii for our anniversary next month. Last Sunday, we spent the entire day renovating the guest room. His idea. He wanted to turn it into a home office. For our future, he said. Oh my God. She was crying harder now. He told me he was sleeping in the spare room, that you barely acknowledged each other, that the house felt like a morgue. Our marriage had problems. Real ones. I was grieving, and that grief took up space. Maybe too much space. But we were working on it. Or at least I thought we were. Turns out he was working on you instead. I feel sick. That makes 2 of us. The line went quiet except for her soft crying. Part of me wanted to hate her. This woman who'd touched my husband, who'd believed his lies, who'd helped him betray me. But listening to her fall apart, I realized something ugly. She was a victim too, just a different kind. How old are you, Jessica? 29. God. 29. 8 years younger than him. Young enough to believe a man who said his marriage was dead. Young enough to think love conquered all. Did you know about me from the beginning? He told me he was married on our second coffee meeting, but he said it was over. He made it sound like you were already planning to divorce, just hadn't done the paperwork yet. He said he wanted to be honest with me about his situation. Honest, I repeated. That's rich. I asked him multiple times if he was sure, if he was really done with his marriage. He always said yes. He said staying with you would be cruel to both of you because the love was gone. The love wasn't gone for me. Her sob was audible. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. If I'd known, would you have stopped? The silence stretched. Finally, I don't know. I want to say yes, but I don't know. I really believed we were meant to be together. Has he been to your place? A few times. Usually we met at hotels or restaurants. He said he didn't want to bring his baggage into my space until things were officially over with you. More lies. More careful construction of separate realities. Jessica, he's never leaving me. Not for you. Not for anyone. He wants both worlds. The stability of a wife and the excitement of an affair. And when one gets complicated, he'll just find another. You don't know that. I know him. And now you're starting to know him too. I hung up with Jessica and sat in the growing darkness of my living room. I didn't turn on the lights. I just sat there, letting the weight of everything settle into my bones. My phone buzzed again. Mark, can we please talk like rational adults? This is getting out of hand. Out of hand. As if his 6-month affair was a minor inconvenience that had been blown out of proportion. I typed back. I spoke with Jessica. The 3 dots appeared immediately, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, what the fuck, Sarah? Why would you do that? Because I wanted the truth, something you've forgotten how to give me. You had no right to involve her in this. I had every right. She's been involved since the day you decided she mattered more than your marriage. My phone rang. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again and again. Finally, I answered. What? You can't just call her. Mark's voice was sharp with anger. That's between me and her. You've made this so much worse. I made this worse? Are you listening to yourself? She's fragile, Sarah. You probably destroyed her. I destroyed her? Not you? Not the man who lied to her for months, promised her a future while keeping a wife she didn't know about? She knew I was married. She knew you were separated, or practically divorced, or whatever version of the truth you fed her to make yourself sound like the victim instead of the cheater. He was quiet for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice had shifted. Lower, more dangerous. You're destroying everything. Whatever chance we had to fix this, you just buried it. There was never a chance to fix this, Mark. You killed our marriage the moment you chose her. I chose you. I came home every night. I never left. Doesn't that count for something? You came home because you're a coward. Because leaving would have been harder than lying. You wanted the safety net of a wife while playing house with your girlfriend. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? Was it fair to use my therapy schedule as your cheating calendar? Was it fair to tell her I was cold and distant while you were the one withdrawing? Was it fair to make plans with her using money from our joint account? Silence. Yeah, Mark. I checked the bank statements too. The hotels, the dinners, the gifts, all paid for with our money. Money I earned too. I was going to pay it back. With what? More lies? I don't know what you want from me. His voice cracked. I've apologized. I've explained. I've tried to make you understand. I want you to take responsibility. Real responsibility. Not, it wasn't real cheating, or you pushed me away, or she's just a friend. I want you to look at what you've done and own it. I made a mistake. No, a mistake is forgetting our anniversary. A mistake is snapping at me when you're stressed. What you did was a choice. Hundreds of choices, made deliberately over 6 months. You chose to lie, to deceive, to build a life with someone else while pretending to build one with me. So what now? His voice was flat. You want a divorce? The question hung in the air. 3 months ago, even 3 weeks ago, the idea would have destroyed me. Now, sitting in the dark house we'd bought together, surrounded by the ruins of everything we'd built, I felt something unexpected. Clarity. I want you to be honest with yourself about who you are, and then I want you to stay away from me while I figure out who I am without you. Sarah. Goodbye, Mark. I hung up, turned off my phone, and for the first time in months, I sat in the silence without crying. The marriage might be over, but I was still here. And that, I realized, was enough. Thanks for staying with us through the entire story. Your engagement means everything to us. Please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.